Welcome to Empowerment Unfiltered. I'm your host, Coach Jay. Visit our website at myempowermentalliance.com. You can also see us on Instagram at Empowerment Ally or Facebook, Empowerment Alliance International. And of course, you can find us on YouTube. Today, in honor of the Met Gala, Auntie Bestie has put a little something on just to acknowledge the fashion and divitude that's required on the red carpet for the Met Gala. Obviously, this would not be a fashion worn, but I just thought I'd put a little something on for you today in honor, in the spirit of high fashion. Auntie Bestie is going to take a letter that we received recently. It's something that's been on the mind of a lot of our followers, and I just wanted to make sure that we were acknowledging and giving some insight and advice for those who are struggling with this particular topic. It's not an easy topic to discuss, but it is one that deserves some examination, if you will, and some discussion on today's show. So bear with me as I glance off to the side to make sure that I'm reading the letter appropriately, but I want to dive in. All right, beloved. This is, again, a topic that many people deal with, and I want to first just acknowledge the fact that you are willing and being honest and open enough to ask for advice on such a very sensitive topic. Your partner cheated. Now comes the part that no one prepared you for. When purpose and process are not aligned, love turns into exhaustion and frustration instead of peace. Our writer says, I'm 29, married, working, trying to balance everything. Honestly, I feel like I'm holding my life together with duct tape. Yikes. My husband is my best friend, like really my person. We laugh, we talk, we understand each other in a way I never had before, but he's cheating. And the crazy part is, it's not even loud or dramatic, it's quiet. It's something I found out, of course, it's hidden, and not something he confessed. Now I'm stuck in this weird place where I'm going to work, coming home, cooking dinner, laughing with him, knowing what I know. I don't want to blow up my life, but I also don't know how to live like this. How do you walk away from someone who feels like home, but doesn't treat you like home? Signed, confused, and holding it together. The tension that you're feeling right now is real. And to be honest with you, I would question or think it was strange if you didn't feel tension because a lot of people will numb themselves to the truth. And there's actually a song for that. You could blind yourself, stick your head in the sand, and not want to deal with anything that was actually going on in the relationship. Or you can be on the other end of the spectrum, totally to the extreme and constantly sparking conflict and fights and drama over this situation. So it sounds like you fall a little bit in the middle, more towards the I want to deal with this, but I don't want to blow my whole life up either. So let's just kind of take this piece by piece. When it comes to having loyalty from your spouse, you expect that. But just because someone has been in your life for a long time or had longevity doesn't mean that they're going to display loyalty. Okay. Sometimes that happens. And what you also have to realize is that what was going on inside of him that caused him to step outside of the relationship really starts and ends with him, not you. It's already difficult for us as women to shoulder the responsibility for a lot of the relationship when it comes to communication, when it comes to keeping things fresh and motivated. Are we doing the things our spouse likes? Are we saying the right things? Are we being supportive? Are we being a little bit mysterious so that we keep it fresh? Are we, alleviating some of the pressures that come along with his role in the relationship? It's there's just so many different components to consider, but at the end of the day, if you are not able to rely on your partner to be honest and truthful with you at minimum, that's something you're going to have to really look at. But I first want you to know that his actions and his choices are not your full responsibility. It's not a burden that you have to bear alone. It simply means that there's something going on within him that he hasn't dealt with or done the work for. And so he feels incomplete or like he needs to go outside of your relationship to fulfill whatever need that he has, whether it's emotional or physical. I want you to understand clearly that friendship And feeling like home means that you have an emotional intimacy with your partner, and that's to be expected. Some of this will be things that you're okay with, and some things you just won't want to hear. So, I'm going to give you my expert advice as a faith counselor who has been giving advice and supporting people through problems for 20 plus years, and also as an individual who has worked with families, certified in both areas. So, I'm going to give, again, expert advice, but also my opinion as your Auntie Bestie. I would love to support you in this. If you have a similar challenge, feel free to reach out. Now, with that in mind, let me start here. The confusion you feel isn't just because it's complicated, it's because two things can be true at once. You can really love your partner, and they also can be violating the trust within your marriage. You can trust your partner, emphatically trust them, but you can also question their judgment and motives in a situation where they've been found to be dishonest, in this case, stepping outside of the marriage. It's obvious that you feel like your relationship with your partner is a strong friendship, and I respect that and I value it. I believe that anyone who's in a committed relationship should be friends first. That is the best way to cultivate a relationship. It's also the best way to see how people act in different environments, whether it's under pressure, whether it's on vacation, whether it's around family members or close friends, whether it's in a crisis, a mini crisis, whatever. The best way to really see that relationship for what it is if you started out as friends. And I do appreciate that you said it feels like home. And I respect that. Definitely want to encourage you to continue to cultivate that if at all possible. That's a solid foundation that you can build off of, especially when your relationship takes such a big hit. The challenge with that is that friendship really implies safety, right? And that safety was violated when he chose to step outside of your marriage. Let's bring it from feelings to facts. The research right now shows that adults between the age of, say, 25 to 34 are reporting that they've cheated at least once. And in older categories or decades where the age group can be from 40 to 65, the number can fluctuate up or down, mostly down. It trends downward. And that might be due to maturity. It may be due to just different experiences. But just that's what the general data shows. And the reason why I'm bringing facts into the situation is because a lot of times when someone cheats, you go into these absolutes. They never loved me. They've always been a cheater, once a cheater, always a cheater, this, that, and the third. And we want to take our emotions down a level. It's not that we don't want to consider our emotions, because they are very valid, and you're owed whatever feelings you're having, right? Because you didn't make the choice to cheat, he did. So no one should ever pressure you about the feelings that you are having. I'm just simply saying that we need to move from feelings at a point to facts. And you may go back and forth. You may look at what facts are and allow yourself to have those feelings. I'm all for both. The reality in this situation is I have a little limited amount of time, so I'm trying to just give you some solid information to go forward with. The reason why I bring up the facts in terms of the numbers is because depending on how old you are, the likelihood of this happening again is something that you want to look at as well or consider. And with that, I would say you also want to consider that this is a risky behavior. You've known your partner for a long time. You know what their tendencies are. You know if this was like a one-off situation that he got caught up in and it happened. You also know if there's a pattern of behavior. And I want to insert another bit of statistical or general information that the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control, actually reports that the increase of risky behaviors by people stepping out of their relationships makes the other partner susceptible to things like STIs and HIV. And that is something that we have to also consider, because it doesn't matter that you were safe most of the time. But the problem is when someone steps outside of the relationship and they're not being honest, it does expose you, because this is middle school information. The person you sleep with, if they're sleeping with other people, that exposes you, the original partner, to whatever issues that they may be having. That's something that a lot of adults don't factor in. And I'm not sure why. Younger people don't either because they think they're invincible. But there's a lot of older adults who are not being careful with their own health. So I want to circle back to that. I want to say that when a relationship is truly safe, again, it's giving you the option with honesty. I understand no one is perfect. We're all human. We get tempted. We like what we like. At the same time, we have to give our partner an honest take on what's going on in our lives. That's only fair. It's only right. We've already talked about the physical dangers of that risky behavior, but it also can impact you emotionally. And that's something that you also have to take into consideration, the stability in your relationship. And unfortunately, it could, for some, cause long term damage to the relationship. There's a healing process that takes place. And if you notice, I started by saying if purpose and process are not aligned, it can cause a lot of frustration, and it can also cause a lot of weariness and emotional turmoil in the relationship, not bring the peace and the connectivity that you were used to. So, with that in mind, I want you to think about an example. All of us have done this. I know you out there have done the same thing where, like, you're trying to plug in something behind a dresser or a table, and you look at it and you know where it is. You have the plug in your hand and you go to put it into the outlet. But it's like, why is this thing doing this? It's not fitting. It's like it becomes harder. You're reaching around, you're struggling, and almost like, did this move? I don't know what's happening. But you keep trying and you start to get frustrated. You're putting your hand behind it to feel it. Let me see. Okay, it's about right there. I know. Okay, I'm going to reach around. Here's the way that you can guarantee to alleviate all frustration, just all of that extra wasting of time. Move the dresser, move the table out the way so you can see it directly head on. All of us have done this. I know I myself have too. If you don't want to do the heavy lifting or shifting in your life in order to get to the issue at hand, you're going to save yourself a lot of frustration and a lot of time wasted if you would just move, do some heavy lifting, or do a little bit of work that causes discomfort up front so that you can save yourself wasted time and wasted energy. Okay? Think of it like the plug in the outlet behind the dresser. You don't want to keep tussling and tussling. You don't want to put yourself through that extra trauma that comes after the event by pretending that it's not there, by avoiding it, and by not just doing the work necessary to really get to the issue at hand and get the result that you need. I hope that's making sense. And I hope that illustration helps someone, because you really need to know that it's not going to be easy. If there was a purpose to this relationship being in place, then the process that you take in order to heal the relationship or to fortify the relationship once something has happened, to compromise it, then what are we doing? I don't want you to waste your time. We only get one life. Let's live it with intention, okay? What I'm saying is not to hurt your feelings, and it's not to dismiss your feelings at all. I've said that before. You're keeping yourself safe emotionally, you're keeping yourself safe physically, and you're actually taking authority in the situation to say, hey, this is something that I know is an issue, and I'm willing to do the work to either heal my relationship or to take some steps in order to move forward from that relationship. That is totally your choice. I'm not judging either way. Here's the biggest thing I want to really focus on. Now, you don't have to decide everything today. This is a serious matter. It's going to take some time for you to sit back and think through. If you are a person of faith, you pray through, you go to your Bible, you seek out scripture that speaks specifically to adultery and to how to heal your heart, how you can receive God's healing in your heart. And you want to make sure that you are pouring back into yourself. For some women, infidelity is very traumatizing. And depending on the situation, it can also re traumatize or reintroduce trauma, should I say, in the situation. And you definitely want to make sure that you're getting the help that you need, whether or not you're speaking to a counselor or whether you are taking the steps yourself, even if it's at home, to work through a process. There are lots of frameworks, strategies. I know that I have a framework that I can use to support people through the process of healing. And you can also, there's a lot of things that you can do if it works for you. You can do therapy through music, you can do therapy through art. There are other ways that you can find to support yourself through this process, because it really is a process. The relationship itself is a process, but healing after there's been a break in the relationship is also a process. And that's what I want you to invest in right now. Invest in yourself. Take the time to deal with writing out those feelings or talking out those feelings, thinking through what steps that you want to take in order to do the heavy work that's going to be there in front of you. Whether or not you choose to stay with your spouse is up to you. Don't let people pressure you into anything. Don't let anyone try to make the decision for you. That's not fair. It's not their marriage, it's yours. So you know what works best for you, and you know how you are being led to take action or what decision to make in the situation. I try not to judge people for how they choose to move, as long as they're making healthy decisions and they're not changing the totality of who they are in order to have and hold on to someone. I'm not here to judge, okay? The best thing that you can do is just stop pretending like I'm going through the motions and I'm acting like I don't even know what's going on, even though I'm holding on to this secret. That's not healthy. It's eating away at your self esteem, at your emotional well being, and you need to have the conversation flat out. Talk to him. Now, I'm not saying go in like Inspector Gadget with all your evidence laid out and do this whole, been there, done that, in the dramatic tizzy of, I found this out, now what? You definitely don't want to do that. You don't want to get on there. You don't want to say, hey, I don't want you to, think that you have to expose or make this dramatic performance. It can be a gentle, loving conversation. Now, of course, there's going to be some emotion, some upset, and you're totally entitled to that. But the worst thing you can do is stuff it down, sweep it under the rug, whatever little euphemism you want to use. Don't do that. Talk about it. Do the work, whether it's in you or whether it's for the relationship. You cannot control how your partner or your spouse is going to react, but you can control what you do going forward. That's how you stay empowered. You don't have to blow your life up in one day by confronting the situation. That's not really going to happen, by the way. Your life is not going to blow up. You also don't have to live quietly pretending like you're not being broken by the situation either. I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope that you are able to take something from this and feel empowered. Again, that purpose that you always want to pursue. You want to look at the purpose of your marriage, of your relationship. You want to look at the process of your marriage and your relationship. And when it comes to infidelity, you definitely want to start healing within yourself by acknowledging that it happened, by feeling your feelings, by looking at the facts, considering the facts, and by moving yourself into doing the heavy lifting or the work of having the conversation with your spouse about what's going on. Those are the 4 things that you need to start with. And finally, please love yourself enough to deposit healing and health into yourself first, because it's going to have a direct impact on your relationship. Thank you all for spending time with Auntie Bestie today. I wasn't spicy today. I was in my Met Gala outfit here. And I guess I just wanted to get deeper into the supportive counseling mode of advice. But I do want you all to know that I want you to continue to send in your letters to Dear Auntie Bestie, There's no judgment here. There's support, there's love, and I appreciate each of you who have reached out. Please go to the bio of Empowerment Ally on Instagram, click the link, and it's a very simple 3-question form. You don't have to put your name, or you can. You do have to let me know if you would be okay with the question being shared on social media. And if you are, I will share that information at that time. Thank you so much for trusting me as your Auntie Bestie, whether you call me Coach J, whether you call me Auntie, or whether you call me Bestie. Just call me. I'm here to support you. Until next time, as always, be empowered.